Hi, Toby.
Hello, Ashley.
Thank you for having us today.
Thank you.
It's been a great event so far.
Yeah.
So I would love to, given that you're a host and we've got Christy and her team here, I would love to tell us a little bit about the partnership with Magna, because it sounds like it's a pretty deep partnership and you guys are creating a lot of successes. So I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah. Well, the Magna partnership has been one that has evolved over the last few years. We started out working actually with I'd say about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And Universal McCann at the time was very focused around this notion of portfolio management and thinking about how to be a lot smarter with their media investments overall. And taking a step back, one of the big areas that we've been focused on as a company since day one is, how do we really work on transformation of an industry? That's what gets our team excited, get up in the morning. And that's really what's starting to happen now in the industry is that we're seeing significant transformations in the way in which these companies operate. Mm-hmm. And the way in which the was looking at it was that they needed to rethink a couple different things. One is that their day-to-day operations, they felt like they had to get more efficient. Data was becoming a bigger part of how they operated ultimately. And they wanted to be able to figure out how to extend and think about attribution in multiple different channels. So it was a natural partnership. Mm-hmm. And we started working with them and got some early successes. As IPG was beginning to do their reorganization and transformation, the relationship moved up to Magna with Christy and Matt Seiler, who really, we had a very symbiotic view of the world, and the partnership has just continued to grow from there. That's
great. And I mean, what have you seen as the critical success factors in working with your agency partners in the training desk and helping them get to a place where programmatic is in their DNA? I mean, are we there yet? I mean, do you have partnerships that you can say that? I mean, it sounds like Magna is one of them, but.
No, it's a great question. I think we use programmatic as this bucket for everything that's happening with the uses of technology. And there's a way in which that I think it's positive, but also we need to disentangle a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a continuum. There are agencies that are thinking about technology in a very siloed approach, where you mentioned the trading desk, and the challenge with that is that then the trading desks tend to have to go and sell it into all the different account teams. You have, on the other end of the spectrum, you have agencies, and I think Magna has been a leader in this, where they're looking at reorganizing the way in which that they operate, so that you have the programmatic and the media investment teams under one umbrella, and then it's not a media tactic, it's a way in which that they operate ultimately. And so we work with customers all along that whole spectrum. Mm-hmm. And I think what we're seeing is an acceleration now of more and more of the agencies starting to move towards that they have to rethink the way in which they operate. And if I may be so bold as to say, I think that it's no secret that the traditional agency model on the media side is broken. That margins are under pressure. I think that people tend to get overworked. They're not focusing on the areas that are really going to move their clients' dollars ultimately to lead to effective ROI. So this industry is at an inflection point, and we're seeing a pretty significant overhaul. And this is why, I mentioned earlier, why we feel like it's such an exciting time to be in this industry, because we're starting to finally see, and I've been doing this for 15 years, that not only is it just the search and digital display, but now video and increasingly television that are starting to leverage technology in innovative ways.
So I would love to kind of dive into this. You alluded to attribution modeling and success and really tying it back to a P&L. Like, how far reaching is the Adapt platform? Like, how does that, where's the connective tissue, and sort of what's the continuation to actually tie into the media mix modeling and know that we're moving a P&L, et cetera? Like, what's that expansive dynamic within your partnerships?
So it's a significant part of what we're focused on, and you have to remember that AdapTv, we have historically been just focused on online video. Mm-hmm. So to the extent that we could, really truly understand attribution across all the media channels, we were fairly limited. About a year ago, we made the investment to move into linear television. We saw increasingly that the two were being planned, bought, sold together. And with Nielsen and Rentrack and others who are starting to provide combined data sets, you start now to be able to look at video, sight, sound, motion across different vehicles where people are watching those. A big reason why we went down the path of being acquired by AOL, and what we're really excited about, is how we start to bring all the different assets, the programmatic or technology assets from display, mobile, video, and television together on a single platform, and then plugging in that attribution and truly getting to the point where you can start to manage media investments across all of them, in near time or real time in that way. Now, I still think we're year, 2 years out from that vision, but we've made significant progress on the TV and video side, and I think over the next 12, 18 months you'll see some significant developments on the display and mobile, adding those pieces in.
And what role do broadcasters have to play in this sea change?
Yeah, it's probably was the hardest part of entering into the television space, because the buy side was all in. They loved the notion they can use their first and third party data to do targeting. The sell side was a bit reluctant, right? They've got a model, they trade billions of dollars, it works fine. And what we've seen is that some of the major agencies are coming into, whether it be the upfronts or having conversations with kind of the mid-tier broadcasters, and working the edges into the primary broadcasters to get them to start to loosen up the reins a little bit, allow them to have more flexibility on being able to target on inventory, move in and out of inventory. I think it's a big part of what we do also, which is to help educate the sell side that this is not about giving up all controls, that you can use technology and still have set commercial terms, that you can control your data. A lot of the issues that I think the sell side is worried about, there are technology solutions for that, and so we're starting to see a real movement from the sell side now, and I think over the next year, 2 years, it's going to be a big sea change.
Great. Thank you, Toby.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
again.
you.